Hello, everybody. Welcome to or welcome back to Fayette County Virtual Learning Academy. This is your Semester 2 refresher orientation. So if you are a brand new student to VLA, we would like to welcome you, but also remind you that there is a longer version of your VLA orientation. Your homeroom teacher can provide that to you, or you should have been provided that information when you first enrolled. So this video is going to go over just some brief recaps about our VLA daily schedule. That includes what times our classes meet, what to do on NTI days and snow days, what asynchronous days are going to look like here at VLA. We're going to go over our VLA attendance policy, how to get counted as present and participating in all of your classes each day, how we grade here at VLA, how to use Canvas, how to use Google Meet, why it is so important to be using email, GoGuardian, and talking points as communication tools in our virtual learning environment. And finally, we'll wrap up with just some reminders about how to get some tech help if your technology ever goes awry. Let's start by talking about our VLA daily schedule. So as a reminder, VLA follows the FCPS A-B schedule. So that means that 4 of your classes are going to happen on A days, and the other 4 classes will happen on B days. To find out whether today is an A day or a B day, you can go to any of your Canvas courses, and on the homepage, you should have a top bar that looks like this. That button that looks like a schedule is the A-B schedule. So if you click on that, it's going to have a calendar. You find the date, and that should tell you whether today is an A day or a B day, and you should go to those classes on that day. Here are our meet times for each of our classes each day. So we're gonna start each day with homeroom. It is very important that you attend homeroom. We give all kinds of important announcements, reminders, and do some other just kind of administrative stuff, paperwork and things that we sometimes have to do for school. That all is gonna happen in homeroom. So if you're not going to homeroom, you're gonna miss important information every day. So make sure you're going to homeroom. That begins at 8:30. Make sure you are on time for homeroom because we will start right at 8:30 each day. Homeroom goes until 9 a.m. and at 9 a.m. our first block starts each day. First block goes from 9 a.m. to 10:30. Second block starts at 10:30 and goes until noon. At noon, we all take lunch, including your teachers, and lunch is from noon to 12:30. At 12:30, our third block is going to begin, and third block ends at 2. And our fourth block begins at 2 and ends at 3:15. It is important that all students log in at the beginning of class. If you are logging in tardy, you're going to interrupt instruction, you're going to miss important instruction, and your teachers are not going to go back and reteach the entire lesson just to you. So it's important that you are logging in at the beginning of class each day, just like you would show up at the beginning of class in a regular in-person classroom situation. Here's what to do on snow days versus NTI days. If Fayette County Public Schools calls for a regular traditional snow day, that means we're off school and we don't have anything. You don't have to come to your Google Meets. You don't even have to check in on Canvas on those days. Your teachers will not be here on those days either, so that is just a regular day off. However, if Fayette County calls for an NTI day, and that stands for non-traditional instruction, then what we're going to be expected to do is have a modified schedule that day. Your teachers will post this modified schedule on their Canvas course homepages, so it will be very easy for you to remember. Your homeroom teacher will also go over this schedule on NTI days. So on NTI days, what you're going to do, you're going to log into homeroom at 8:30, and we'll be in homeroom from 8:30 to 8:55. First block will be from 9 o'clock to 9:30, so a shorter class period just to check in, see what we're doing on that day. Might do a small review or something on an NTI day. At 9:30, you're going to go to your second block class until 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., you'll check in with your third block class and go until 10:30. And then finally, from 10:30 to 11 a.m., you will check in with your fourth block. And then the rest of that NTI day will be reserved for work time and getting caught up on your assignments asynchronously for the rest of the day. So we'll remind you of this if we ever get an NTI day called, if there is weather. All right, so on asynchronous days, we have these special days at VLA called asynchronous days. These are days where your teachers are going to be in meetings and doing trainings and those kinds of things. This happens about once a month, maybe a little less frequently depending on the month. But on these days, your teachers will remind you of what to do. But here's the basic gist of what an asynchronous day looks like. You're going to log in live to your homeroom. Your homeroom teacher will go over the asynchronous day schedule with you and remind you what it is. you're going to log into your first block Google Meet briefly for about 10 minutes or so. Your first block teacher will tell you what to do for that day, but then the rest of your classes that day, so your second, third, and fourth block classes that day are going to be asynchronous. Asynchronous means that we still have class. It will just not be live. So most of the time, your teachers will film a video or give you written instructions on the Canvas course homepage about what to do that day to get your attendance and what assignments you need to be working on for that day. Students will be expected to complete their teachers' attendance check-ins for asynchronous days to get their attendance, because asynchronous days are school days, even though our schedule is a little bit different. So make sure you're checking in with your teachers about their expectations on asynchronous days and what you need to do to make sure you get your attendance. Okay, speaking of our attendance policy, here it is. Our attendance here at VLA is based on daily student participation in each of their classes. So you must be present and participating every day on each of your classes. So what that means is you cannot just come to homeroom or first block and get counted present for the entire day. Each individual teacher takes their attendance for each individual block. So it's important that you are present and participating during each of your individual blocks each day. Now, what that can look like, we do provide some flexibility here at VLA, but what that can look like, by the way, our full attendance policy can be found here, but I'm going to briefly go over it. This will be linked on the longer orientation, and you'll have access to this also on your VLA documents when you enrolled. But basically, to get counted as present and participating, the easiest way to do that is just to be on your Google Meet for each block. That's the easiest way. Also, it's the most valuable thing that you can do for yourself for your success here at VLA, because all of our instruction is designed to be taught live, which means we're going to go over examples. We're going to talk you through our expectations on all the assignment. We're going to even do some things together in class. So if you're missing class, you're going to miss out on some valuable things that are going to help you be successful. So do that for your attendance. Come to class. Now, if you have a doctor's appointment or other thing that you have to miss the live Google Meet for, but you are able to check in and see what you're doing for the day, your teachers are going to have a Google form that you can fill out to get your attendance, but that Google form must be filled out before or during the block that you're going to miss for the Google Meet. Because we take attendance during each block, you can't miss second block and fill out the Google form for second block during fourth block and still expect to get counted present for second block. So treat it like we're just in a regular classroom. If you are able to, if you know you've got an appointment fourth block, but you wake up in the morning, you do your fourth block, you check in with fourth block, you find the assignment, you maybe even make a little progress on that assignment before fourth block, you can submit your attendance form for fourth block before fourth block, and you'll still be counted present for that day if you have a legitimate thing that you need to miss class for. Okay. If you cannot do either of those things, if you cannot come to the Google Meet and you also cannot complete your teacher's alternate attendance check-in, then what your parent or guardian is going to have to do, and this does have to be a parent or guardian, you cannot do this for yourself, is email an excuse note. You get 10 excuse notes that your parents can use for you. And you also get unlimited doctor's notes. So if you are in the doctor quite a lot, if you have something going on, Fayette County gives you unlimited doctor's notes, but parent notes, just for other things. You get 10 of those per school year, and you will need to send those, your parent will need to send those to Miss Martinez. Her email address is adeline.martinezgarza@fayette.kyschools.us. And then starting in February, you can also send excuse notes to Miss Epps at tasha.epps@fayette.kyschools.us. Make sure your parent includes your name and the dates that you missed. That will make going back and fixing attendance and marking you as excused much easier. All right. Let's go over our grading here at VLA. So let's talk about high school first. High school grades are based on semester grades in each course. And I cannot stress this enough. So you must pass each individual semester of a course in order to pass the entire course. So if you fail semester 1 of a course, you will have to make that up in order to pass all of English 2, for instance. So it is massively important that you are keeping up with your work each semester and making sure to get all of your work turned in by the deadline for each semester, or else it is not going to count. So all work for semester 1 is due at the end of semester 1 and may not be submitted after that deadline. So all work for semester 2 is due at the end of semester 2. And a couple of teachers may set their deadlines a few days before, especially during semester 2, when the final cutoff for grades is the last day of school. So we're going to need time to get stuff graded. Make sure you are paying attention to the final deadlines for work at the end of semesters and meeting those deadlines so that you don't put yourself behind on your graduation credits. Speaking of graduation credits for high school, remember that to graduate, you need 4 full English credits, 4 full math credits, 3 science, and 3 social studies. Please make sure you're prioritizing these core classes, as a failing grade could put you at risk of not graduating your senior year, especially math and English that requires those 4 full credits. All right, so prioritize your classes accordingly so that we can all see you walk across that stage your senior year. VLA middle school students, your grades are based on quarter grades. So that means that you have to pass 3 out of your 4 quarters in order to pass the whole class. So make sure you're paying attention to when the quarters end, and make sure you're meeting your deadlines for getting all of your work submitted by that deadline. So that way we can make sure to get our full course credit for the full year. All work for each quarter is due at the end of each quarter. You cannot complete work for quarter 1 during quarter 2. Okay, so we gotta pay attention to those deadlines. Here's how our grading breaks down at VLA. At VLA, your total grade is broken into 2 categories. Those are formative assignments. Formatives are like those smaller daily assignments. So these are things like practices, homework, discussions, exit slips, organizers, those kinds of things. Formative helps you form your learning. And so they're very important to be completing, because if you're not doing your formatives, you're not going to do as well on your summatives, which the formatives prepare you for. Formative assignments are worth about 20% of your grade in a whole course. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but I can tell you that adds up. I've had students that only turn in summatives and don't submit a single formative, and their grade really suffers. So even though it's only 20%, these formative assignments matter for 2 reasons. First of all, that 20% is a lot more than you might think. And second of all, your formatives are where you're forming your knowledge, and they'll help you do better on these summatives. So speaking of summatives, that's our second category. These are the bigger things. These are tests, projects, papers, things like that, labs in science. So summative assignments are where you show your individual knowledge. Summative assignments show what you have learned throughout a unit, and they are your own expression of your learning to us, and helps us understand where you are at the end of the unit in your knowledge of that concept or the content of class. That is worth 80% of your grade. You must prioritize your summatives. Because summatives usually happen at the end of a unit, and there's usually only a couple of summatives per unit, missing even one summative can drop your grade to failing like that. And so we need to make sure we're paying attention to expectations for summatives. We need to make sure we're showing up for proctored summatives. So we'll talk about that in a second. We need to make sure that we are getting help on summatives if we're struggling, and we're meeting our deadlines for summatives so that we can get that 80% of our grade. Teachers, in according with our grading policy, may require you to be live on a Google Meet or GoGuardian or both in order to take a summative for test security and academic integrity. So if a summative appears locked, so here at VLA, you can complete your summatives whenever they remain open, but if they appear locked, it may be a proctored summative. So some of your teachers, in accordance with our grading policy, can require summatives to be proctored, which means you have to be live with them in order to take it. So if a summative appears locked, contact your teacher. They'll probably tell you it's a proctored summative, and then we'll need to schedule a time to get that done, okay? Let's talk about late work. There will not be points deducted for late work. However, However, there are a couple of things to remember about final deadlines. So first has to do with formative assignments. Here at VLA, your formative assignments will lock permanently at the end of a unit, which this is because formatives are for forming our learning. So after a summative, those formatives are going to lock and you will not be able to go back and complete them. Your teachers will communicate the final formative lock date in advance of that lock date. So make sure you are checking your email, checking Canvas messages regularly, coming to class regularly so that you do not miss any information about those cutoffs. So when formatives lock, you will not be able to go back and complete them for credit. So any missings in the gradebook will turn to zeros and you will not be able to go back and do those. So we need to be keeping up with our deadlines, even for the formatives, because the formatives will lock and you will not be able to complete them. Summatives will not lock unless they're proctored, but you can complete summatives up until the final cutoff for the semester. So teachers will set a final deadline for all work at the end of each semester. Keep in mind, some teachers with longer written summatives, especially in English class, may set their final deadline a couple of days before the end of the semester because they do have to have time to get those graded and submitted before grades are due. Make sure you are checking your email, checking Canvas messages, and coming to class regularly so you're getting that information about when those deadlines are and you can meet those. Okay, let's talk about academic dishonesty. So our behavior policy does state that a student may receive a points deduction on a reattempt of an assignment if they exhibited academic dishonesty. So this is cheating, plagiarism, unauthorized AI use. We do have a behavior policy and an academic integrity policy that should have been provided to you when you enrolled. Make sure to check those out, and your homeroom teacher can also provide those for you as well. Where to check your grades. Make sure you're checking your grades regularly, at least once a week. The best place to see your grades is Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus is where we're going to report all of our actual in-progress grades. Canvas's grades is not going to be an accurate reflection of your overall grade in a course. That's because sometimes teachers will do things just for practice. We may grade them on Canvas, but after we look at it, we may decide not to put those in the final grade book for various reasons. So that's why we always use Infinite Campus to check our actual grade. If you go to your Canvas course homepage in any of your classes, Infinite Campus is the green button at the top that says Infinite Campus. You'll click on that. You'll click on single sign-on. It's a button that'll say SSO, and all you'll do is click on your school account. You should be able to log in, go to grades, and you should be able to see your in-progress grades and your missing assignments in each course. Please do this regularly so that you do not get behind in your courses. Let's talk about how to use Canvas. Canvas is where all of your assignments, all of your lessons, all of everything will live. So to access Canvas, this is also how you'll get to your live Google Meets through Canvas as well. What you're going to do is you're going to open up Google. You're going to sign in with your school account. You're going to click on the Google waffle button. So in the top right corner, you should have a button that has a lot of boxes. It looks like a waffle. So we call that your Google waffle. You're going to click on the Google waffle. You're going to scroll down and you're going to find Canvas. So you have to be logged into your school Google account in order to see that. But once you click on Canvas through your Google Waffle, it should take you to your dashboard page. So once you're on your dashboard, you can do a couple of things. You can change your profile. So we would love for you to change your profile to a profile picture of you. It helps us as your teachers know who we are teaching. We often keep our cameras off in class because of video lag and things like that. But we would love to know who you are as a person. So you can go up to the top left corner and change your profile picture. But if you do that, it should only be a picture of you. And if it's not, then you may be asked to change it back or to change it to blank. So we would love to see your beautiful faces, but make sure on Canvas your profile picture is only a picture of you. Your Canvas dashboard has all of your classes that you're currently enrolled in. If it looks like classes are missing from your dashboard, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your sidebar on the left, click on Courses, click on All Courses, find the class that's missing, and then click on the star next to it to turn it orange. Any courses that have the star clicked and turned orange will show up on your dashboard. So make sure to double check that. If you feel like you're missing classes, go to Courses, All Courses, and make sure that your course is starred. Once you are ready to start working on a class and start completing work, all of your classes materials are going to be on the modules tab for each class. It is really tempting for some students to just use the Canvas calendar or the Canvas to-do list to complete stuff. That can be a valuable resource, but if you only use the calendar or if you only use the to-do list, you are not going to get everything that you need to be as successful as you could be. So what I want everyone to do is always use the modules tab for everything. Even if you find something on your to-do list, go check modules, because your teachers are going to post things in modules each day, like examples, like models, like helper outlines, like whole PowerPoints with stuff on there that can help. So make sure you're using the modules tab to access your daily stuff. I know for my classes, each day I have a PowerPoint lesson that has all kinds of valuable resources. I post models, I post all of our readings, I post even sometimes video breakdowns giving instructions. So your modules tab is very important. We need to be using the modules tab for everything. Make sure you are also checking your Canvas messages daily, because a lot of your teachers are going to use Canvas messages to send reminders about things, to give you updates. When we are absent, we will often send a Canvas message to tell you what to do. So make sure at least once a day you're clicking on that Canvas message button and seeing what to do. If you have other questions about how to use Canvas, there is a longer breakdown about how to use Canvas and some of its features in our longer orientation. So make sure to check that out or talk to your homeroom teacher, and we'll be happy to go over anything else about Canvas with you. Let's talk about Google Meet. Your Google profile picture should also only be a picture of you. Make sure you're always logging into Google Meet through your Canvas course homepage link. So on each of your Canvas course homepages, you will see a camera button. Make sure you're getting to our Google Meets that way. So the reason for this is if there's anything weird about a day, your teacher is going to change your Canvas course homepage to tell you what to do that day. So for instance, if a teacher is absent, we might not be meeting live that day, but I'll change my Canvas course homepage to tell you what to do. If you are just saving all of your Google Meet links every day and going through that way to get to your Google Meets, you might click on one of your Google Meets and you won't be let in, and then you're panicking like, oh no, what do I do? Because I'm not being let into my class. If you are not going to your Canvas course homepage to check, you might be missing some valuable information, like it might be an asynchronous day or your teacher might be absent. So make sure you're getting to your Google Meet through your Canvas course homepages. If once you are on Google Meet, the first thing you want to do is open the chat. We use chat a ton to go over things, so make sure you are opening the chat. Make sure you are staying muted unless you are asked to unmute. If you would like to unmute, make sure you're using the raise hand feature down at the bottom. It looks like a hand. Your teacher will know then that you want to unmute, and then they will give you permission to do so. If you're going to have your camera on, we are super excited to see your faces, and we think having cameras on does help hold you accountable for paying attention, and it just makes students more successful. So we would love for you to have your camera on. Make sure you are dressed appropriately if you're going to do that, and also make sure you are not distracting others by doing things like walking around, making breakfast, or doing anything else. We will also probably ask sometimes if we're doing things like showing video in class or other things that are going to tax the technology, we may ask you to turn cameras off at various points. Make sure you're using emojis to communicate with your teacher as well. We might ask for you to do that frequently in class. So we might say, give a thumbs up if you're understanding, give a thumbs down or a chin scratch if you need another example, those kinds of things. So emojis can be helpful, a quick way for your teachers to see if we're getting it, if we're having trouble, or if we are celebrating somebody who just did something cool in class. Do not overuse the emojis. So we are not going to spam emojis, and we're not going to spam the chat in class. So we're keeping it nice and respectful. We're here to get our classes, get done, get help, get out so that we can do our work every day. So let's all keep that in mind as well when we're on our meets. We're almost done. Hang in there, y'all. Thanks for sticking with us through this reorientation. The couple last things I want to hit. The first thing I want to talk about in this last part of the reorientation is the importance of communication. We are in a virtual learning environment, you all. Your teachers cannot see you. We cannot see visibly when you are struggling, when you need help. So it is important that you are using the communication tools at your disposal to advocate for yourself, to tell your teachers when you need help, when you're not understanding something, before it becomes a panic mode situation. So here at VLA, we have 3 communication tools that we use all the time that are massively important that you are also using to help us help you. So the first one is going to be talking points. The second one is Go Guardian. And the third one is your school email, which includes campus messages as well. So we'll talk about both of those things when we get there. It is important that you are using these tools and using them frequently to communicate with your teachers so that we know how to help you all and what you need to be successful. Let's talk about email first. Email is really, really important. We have 2 types of email. You have to be checking both at least once a day. The first one is your Microsoft Outlook through your school Google account. So we use Microsoft Outlook for staff and student email. Your teachers are going to see grade updates, danger of failure notices, other important messages through your school email. So it looks like this. It's the blue button. It kind of looks like an envelope and it has an O on it. If you click on that link on any of your Canvas course homepages, it's going to take you to Microsoft Outlook, and then you're going to have to go to the drop down and choose email. Then you'll see your email inbox and all of the messages from your teachers and the school with lots of important information. I pin my email in a tab at the top of my screen so that it is always up. That is how important email is as a professional communication tool. Make sure you're checking your school email at least once a day so that you're not missing any important info. This goes for your Canvas messages as well. Make sure you're checking your Canvas message inbox at least once a day because we also send important updates through your Canvas messages as well. Okay. Next, let's talk about Go Guardian. So Go Guardian is a software that allows students and teachers to chat privately. So Google Meet does not allow a student to chat privately with a teacher. Any chat that you send in Google Meet is going to be public. So there's often times where students want to communicate privately with the teacher, and Go Guardian is how we do that. So your teachers will turn on Go Guardian at various points. Some teachers do it for the whole class. Some teachers turn it on just for the second half of class. Some teachers do it by request. Regardless, you should be using Go Guardian when your teachers are using it because it can be helpful for you to send a private message. Hey, can you check this? Hey, I'm not sure how to find this. Can you show me? Hey, I'm really struggling. Could you walk me through this one more time? Go Guardian is a very valuable tool for virtual education in this way because it allows for that private communication. It also allows your teachers to see as you're working. If it's almost like us walking around a physical classroom. I can see your screen and I can be like, oh, hang on, I see that this student is doing this slightly incorrectly. Let me stop them real quick and correct them so that they can finish the rest and not have to go back. So it really helps us troubleshoot misconceptions in content. Also, it helps us troubleshoot technical issues. So if you tell us like, this is not loading for me, I can see that on Go Guardian, and then I'll be able to maybe troubleshoot and help from there. So it's important that you are using your school issued device so that we can use Go Guardian together to help you be more successful. By the way, let's go back to Go Guardian. Some teachers, if they're using proctored tests, will require you to be on Go Guardian before you can take the test. So make sure that you have verified that Go Guardian works on whatever device you are using for your schoolwork at VLA. Finally, Talking Points is an awesome tool that we now have access to. This allows teachers to text you or your your parents or guardians in order to give you important updates about school. So it is important. We mostly use this for parent communication. You do have to be 13 or older in order to use Talking Points. So if you have not made it there yet, you can't use Talking Points. But if you have, then it is important for you to sign up for an account and use it for that communication if you can. But mostly we will use this to communicate with your parents, guardians, and families to help you be more successful. Make sure your parent has an updated phone number with the school so that this will work. So what this is a text messaging service. We can text your parents. They can download the app and get messages that way. But just make sure that they have an updated phone number with us so that we can use this as a good tool. All right, finally, we have reached the end of the reorientation, and this is where we talk about what happens when your technology is just busted, right? So your Chromebook, you dropped it and it's just not working. What can you do? This is the technology help desk. They are the tech experts of the district. Your teachers here at VLA are pretty savvy with technology, but mostly as it comes to software like Canvas, Google Meet, how those things can help instruction. We're not as savvy about the inner workings of the Chromebooks. So this is where the technology help desk at the district comes in. They are the experts at the hardware. So what you're going to do is you're going to call them whenever you have a tech issue that your teacher tells you, I can't solve that one. So their phone number is 859-422-5555. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And if you ever forget that, we do have a link to the FCPS General Tech Support website here, and these phone numbers and times can be found there as well. The Technology Help Desk has helped me personally so many times, and I can't recommend them enough. What would take me an hour and a half to figure out on my own, it would take them like 5 minutes. So call them with any technology support that you need, and they can usually figure it out and get you through. And that concludes our reorientation for semester 2 at VLA. If you have any questions about policies, about grading schedule, any of these things, behavior, and we'll probably go over our PBIS expectations and behavior expectations in the coming days as we're beginning a new semester. But if you have any questions about how we operate here at VLA, reach out to any of your teachers, reach out to your homeroom teacher, and we will clarify anything that we can. We are so happy to have you as a student at VLA, and we look forward to this coming semester. Have a good one.